Are we good? Okay. Good morning, everyone. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. Before we start, I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm Stan Kumork. I'll be your chair today. On our far left is Barb Bertozik, who is our manager and deputy secretary treasurer. On my left is Natalia Popovic. On my right is Donald Taylor, and on my far right is Bill Dalton. And welcome. So the Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances for the provisions of the zoning that apply to property, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consents to sever property to create new lots. I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on this traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Our procedure this morning: the Committee of Adjustment hearings are now conducted in a hybrid and in-person virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, while others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentation materials submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. Decisions of the committee. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, as the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Board will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and specified persons and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the committee. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision at the bottom of the decision of the committee. I will call each item in the order listed in the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are advised to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching or at the 5-minute mark. As mentioned earlier, any presentation materials should have been submitted by email in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make the presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that, again, we may not entertain revisions. The committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or in opposition to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers here in the hearing room and then those participating online. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentations. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the opportunity to rebut, but only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Okay, top of our agenda is declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest for the morning session for committee members or staff? Thank you. Seeing none, we can move on to the confirmation of the previous minutes, the minutes of the previous hearing.
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval of the minutes for the meeting held on April 17th.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Pavic. All in favor? Okay, the minutes are approved. Madam Secretary Treasurer, I'm assuming there are no files to be closed. No, and we have some deferrals, so we'll deal with the deferrals first. And the first item that is being requested to be deferred is item 1. And that is Fatima Arujo, I believe, is online.
Good morning.
Good morning, Fatima.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I understand you're interested in getting a deferral to deal with forestry.
That is correct. So we received a memo from Urban Forestry late on Friday last week, and due to the tight timeline between receiving the information and our hearing today, we would like to have some time in order to be able to converse with the forestry. We believe that we can make some adjustments to like the playground surfacing design and materials, along with some revisions to the proposed shed. And these changes should address their concerns, but we also would like some time to communicate any changes with the zoning department, just to make sure that none of these changes will impact the minor variances we are seeking.
Okay, because forestry has given us an alternative as well, but I think if you want to do the deferral, we're happy with that.
Okay, yes, we would like to proceed with a deferral.
Okay, thank you. Is there any
Thank you.
online or in person for item 1?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so let's take it into committee for a vote.
Mr. Chair, at the applicant's request and with no opposition, I move that this matter be deferred.
Thank you, Mr. Povic.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Okay, the item is deferred.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next deferral request is item 5, and this is staff asking for the deferral. And that's 2 BRAYWIN Drive. Just seeing who the speaker is. Andrew Shields, in person. So planning staff have asked to defer the item. I guess I'd like to get your take on that request.
Yes, good morning. There should be some correspondence.
I think your mic's still.
Oh. Is it on now? There we go. Okay. There should be some correspondence. We were going back and forth with the technician on the file. There was a mistake on the zoning notice, which was why planning asked for the deferral, but that's now been rectified, and there was an updated zoning notice provided to the committee. It should be dated April 29th.
Does it affect any of the variances?
No, it does not. It was one small typo with the variance for variance number 1 had the incorrect reference on it to the bylaw, and the bylaw has now been updated.
But we don't, Mr. Chair, we don't have anything updated from planning saying that they're no longer pursuing the deferral.
So there was email correspondence on this yesterday, and I was told from the committee technician who was working on this file, Adam, that everything had been rectified on their end and we were good to go.
I'm just trying to see. Yeah, we have the revisions, but we don't have any confirmation from planning that they're now okay. So that's our dilemma.
Okay.
So I'm assuming you would prefer to go forward, but
Yeah, we believe we're okay to go forward because it was
So
just a
there is
small
an
typo.
updated report. They're asking for refusal.
Okay, I'm not sure when this came in. We've not seen this.
we don't have that, right?
No, it's on the screen. Can,
Okay, you may want to take that deferral to discuss that with them then. Yeah. Okay.
So they sent this yesterday? Because I mean, I even checked this morning. There was nothing.
So you haven't seen this either then?
Even this morning, I checked the file online. There was nothing there.
Okay.
I was emailing. Yeah, I was speaking with planning yesterday. This is yeah, no, this is not being communicated to us.
Okay. Well, given that broadside, I think your best interest is probably to defer.
Okay, that's fine.
Is there anyone else for this item?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Okay, back to committee then.
Mr. Chair, given the request by community planning, giving the current date, yesterday's date of the communications, I move to defer to allow the parties to communicate.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bill. All in favor? Okay, that item is also deferred. Item 13, is that correct? Okay. So, again, a staff request for deferral. 29 Williams Street and Alona.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee team members. My name is Ilona Canalari, and I am the agent here today on behalf of the owners of 29 William Street, my parents.
Okay, good morning. You're aware of the planning staff requesting the deferral?
Yes, we are aware, and we are in agreement with their recommendation and requesting for the deferral of our application. We're working closely with them right now, and we need just a bit more time to submit the revised materials and ensure that they have enough time to review the changes. We're also aware of some of the concerns from our neighbors, and we'd like the appropriate amount of time to address those properly. And we would appreciate the opportunity to present the updated application once the new zoning review and any related processes are completed.
Perfect, thank you. Anyone else for this item, William?
So we had one person late, a Giorgio. I believe they would want to talk if it wasn't deferred.
Okay, are they online still or in person?
They're in person, so
You okay with the deferral? Okay. Take it back to committee then.
With that, I think that makes good sense. I move a motion for deferral to give the application more time to work with staff and the community.
Thank you, Bill.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kovic. All in favor? Okay, that item is also deferred.
You.
Thank you. 16. Is that it for the deferrals for the morning? Yeah, okay. So back to the top of the agenda. So we're at item 2. Okay. So this is 428 and 430 Royal York Road. This is an application to construct a new 9-story mixed-use building. There are 10 variances being requested. Planning has 4 conditions of approval. Transportation has 2 conditions of approval. And we have an arborist report, a traffic study, a rental housing declaration, and who is the agent? Joe Hoffman online. And Joe, before we get started, I have some questions for you with regards to the transportation conditions. Are you there?
Good morning, sir. I am. Good morning. I thought you may.
Yeah, sorry, no, I wasn't referring to our staff. The conditions are a little odd in that normally that would be something you would need to work out with transportation prior to coming here. If we were to approve this and if we impose those conditions, they could turn down your entire application. Are you aware of that?
It's a good question, sir. We are completely aware of it. I had thought through those conditions as well, given that we received the report on April 24th, 4th. I think we can easily fulfill those conditions, but my additional thought is if we can't fulfill those conditions, then, and the conditions are short-term bicycle parking on-site as opposed to off-site, and the width of bicycle parking spaces, we're proposing them in stackers, and so we need a small variance. What I thought is if we couldn't justify those conditions into city staff, well, the parent bylaw permissions would just apply. So we'd then have to figure out how we would provide that bicycle parking space on site, and we wouldn't be permitted any variance associated with any bicycle parking stackers. That's how I thought, sir. We may be able to deal with this appropriately, but we understand the risk, and we'd like to go ahead today. This is a timely project where timing is everything, candidly.
Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Just wanted to point that out before we got into this. We also have a number of speakers in objection to this item, and we're just, it's up to you, however you want to proceed. Do you want to go forward, or do you want to take, or do you want to take a deferral?
We'd like to go forward, sir.
Okay. Committee members, you're okay with that? All right. Okay. That being the case, we'd like a full presentation, given that you've got a large number of variances, and these are based on the current situation as opposed to what is anticipated to be approved. So please go ahead.
So good morning, Joe Hoffman. I'm a partner at Goodman's LLP. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. This is for a 9-story residential building, and candidly, this is city building at its best. It's a 60 purpose-built rental building. This is a building that will proceed in a time where very little is proceeding by way of construction, and this is a short construction timeline, prefabricated cross-lamination timber, LEED Platinum TGS Tier 2 standards. It's highly accessible, close proximity to Mimico Go, near small retail, grocery stores. And leading up to today's committee hearing, we have worked very closely with city staff. And as you'll see, both city planning staff and transportation staff have no objections with the proposal. Both reports contain conditions of approval. And at the outset, I want to say that our client is agreeable to all of the conditions being proposed by staff. Before I speak to the specific variances, I do want to speak to the evolving policy context through the city's housing action plan. And as this committee probably knows well, the city's housing action plan is stated by the city as the cornerstone of the city's efforts to address the current housing challenges. And the intention of the housing action plan is to simplify approvals and facilitate development along avenues and mixed-use areas to address the city's housing crisis. And for this site, Royal York has been added as an avenue in the city's official plan. The desired built form along avenues is mid-rise with greater heights and density allowed within proximity to transit stations. And the implementing zoning bylaw is 27 meters and a 6.5 FSI, and that's important. Now, I acknowledge that the OPA and the implementing bylaw have been approved by council, but they are not in full force and effect yet because they're under appeal. But the appeal isn't seeking to decrease permissions. And I think it is very much the baseline that we should look at this application against. And here, The in-force zoning bylaw maximum height and density permissions reflect historical permissions carried forward from the pre-amalgamation zoning bylaws, and in my respectful submission are not good planning. We need to look at the intent of where the city is going to build these type of much needed housing. Now, I want to quickly speak to the particular variances that are being sought. Here, an FSI of 5.66 is being sought. Under the city's housing action plan, 6.5 SSI is proposed, and that's what we're proposing is less than the 6.5, clearly appropriate, clearly minor. Short-term biking, we quickly spoke about this at the outset. A minimum number of 5 bicycle parking spaces is needed. This is a technical variance. We are providing short-term bicycle parking but it's on city land, so we need a variance. And in fact, we're proposing 10 spaces instead of the required 5. And again, we have to provide justification for why that's needed. We're willing to accept that condition, and if that condition cannot be met, we would provide the required amount of bicycle parking spaces on site. Visitor parking spaces, as you'll see from the city staff report, it indicates that there's sufficient short-term bicycle parking in the short-term visitor parking in the area. And there are precedents of other sites that have approved for no visitor parking. We are providing 4 parking spaces on site, but they're not reserved for visitors. It's a first come, first served basis. So they're not technically considered visitor parking spaces. Accessible parking spaces, we're providing 1 accessible parking space. And as you see in the city staff report, they note that this is an acceptable condition given the overall parking supply and site constraints. A type G loading space, we are not providing a type G loading space. Again, transportation is no concerns. Waste collection will be taken off of Royal York, and it's been approved by the city's solid waste management department. And this is a common condition for a building with 60 units. Bicycle parking spaces, the minimum width of a bicycle parking space is 0.6 meters. We're proposing 0.45, and this is because we're providing bicycle parking stackers, which we think will work well. And again, we're fine with adopting or having implemented the city transportation condition with respect to that. Height, the height of the building is 29.73, but as I discussed, the housing action plan has a 27 meter as of right permission. That is currently under appeal, but it's not a question about whether that goes down, but only if it goes up. And so I think it really needs to be taken into account by the committee in determining whether the minor variance application meets the test under the Planning Act. And as you'll see in our presentation materials on page 5, it shows the differential between the 27 meters and the 29.73, and it very much is de minimis. Rear landscaping, 1.5 meter strip at the rear. It's not provided because there's a laneway at the rear, which will provide an appropriate buffer. Commercial units, there's also a variance for ground floor height. Commercial units will actually maintain a floor to ceiling height of 4.27 meters. However, parts of the ceiling are dropped. So it's this dimension that's taken into account in the variance. And as you'll see through the city staff report, the exterior of the building does present as a 4.5 meter ground floor height, which is what the city wants to see. Lastly, the angular plane variance. This is a data requirement based on the old mid-rise guidelines. City is now applying new standards. And I think it's important to note that the proposal provides a rear yard setback for a total of 12.39 meters from the rear of the site, which is more than what's typically required by the mid-rise building design guidelines. So it adds an extra buffer in relationship to the building and the properties at the rear. And you'll see in the city staff report, planning staff report, it notes that the proposed 9-story building follows the intent of the city's direction for mid-rise guidelines. I do want to take a moment to thank city staff. This has been a long effort to get what I think is a great project
Get you to wrap
in
up,
front
please.
of the committee. I'd ask, I'd just like to close by saying we're fine with all of the conditions proposed by planning staff and transportation staff. The application meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act, and subject to any questions from the committee, those are my submissions.
Okay, I'd like to start off with some questions. You were originally contemplating an 8-story, you went then to a 9. I just would like to get some rationale on that. And I also want to put that into the context of, as you pointed out in your presentation, you're asking for something which is yet to be final and binding. And from that final and binding, the way it sits right now, would only be 27 meters, yet you're asking for 29.7. So if you could address the 8 to 9 and how that came about.
Yeah, so I think the planning context for the area is ever evolving. This project is actually bordering on a protected major transit station area, which is the Mimico Go transit station area. And so greater height and density, I think, are appropriate for this area. Once Royal York got designated an avenue, we really started to rethink what the appropriate height for this area of the city is. This is a purpose-built rental building, so that extra height makes the project viable. It's difficult to bring purpose-built rental projects to the city, and it also adds additional units that will help the city's housing stock. So when we looked at it, we thought, this is a great project. We think 9 stories is appropriate. We worked with planning staff. We thought about the rear angular planes. We thought about the front angular planes. You'll notice on the north and south portions of the building, there's very limited windows. We're respecting privacy and mitigation measures. So because of the planning context for the area, we thought 9 stories made sense, and it really does help the project have legs to advance towards construction.
Okay, next question. Is there any affordable or rent geared to income rental being proposed here, or is it strictly market rental?
The building is a market rental building, with the exception that there are the building is a market rental building. There are existing rental tenants that will
Which
be
you're going to have to
provided.
accommodate. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's a market building.
Okay. Any questions from panel members? Okay, before we go to the other deputants, I just wanted to also note that I negated to mention that there were a number of letters of objection. I believe the speakers coming up are the same ones who submitted those letters, so I'll let them speak to those issues. And do we have 2 of them here in person?
So currently we have a Tom Smith. We also have a Hong Fang Liao or Nancy. Is she here as well?
Well, we'll have Tom. Please come.
Yeah, Tom's here, so we'll start with him.
So if you just get your name and address for the record before you start.
My name is Tom Smith. I live at 21 Cliveden Avenue in Toronto. I own the building next door at 426 Royal York Road. Consequently, I'm here for that reason.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. I understand that there's a great need for rental properties and there's a great need for higher density, but I think that the proposed property will be an eyesore, causing overcrowding and extensive use of property that's very small. I don't know whether you've seen a 9-story building on a lot this size. If not, I urge you to go to Royal York Road just south of the railroad tracks, where they have a similar building sticking up there. This building should not have any windows in the north and south side, and the previous speaker said that there may be some windows there. As owning the property next door, I would expect to be able to do the same thing at 426 as they're doing at 430, which means that all the windows on the north and south side would be blinded by construction. I think that's very important. That has happened at Royal York and Bloor, where they put a building up where they had windows on the, in that case, it was the east and west side, and they will be blanked off by new construction, and which is a detriment to the people that have already purchased, and or a detriment to 426, because 426 may be denied at a building of similar size because of objections by the tenants and people that are getting their windows blocked off. Again, I would urge you to have a look at that building at south of Royal York, because it looks very ugly. It doesn't fit in with the neighborhood, and it's excessively high. We have run a 3-apartment building next door at 426, and it's been quite good for the last 20 years. I see no reason why this gentleman can't do it in a 6-story building or something that's smaller that would fit in and give more benefit to the surrounding people. there is a lot of low-rise residential, and this would, it's the building on south of the railroad tracks sticks up from the overpass across the QEW. I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Just before you go away, are there any questions from panel members? No? Okay. Thank you, sir. Hong Feng, would you like to come up?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for
Good
this
morning.
opportunity. I'm one of the partner of 426 Royal Road. We have several
We need your
people
name.
already registered for
Hello, we need your
petition
name.
here because they could not attend here.
Sorry,
Okay,
just,
my name is Hong Fang Liao.
and address?
I live at 40 Samsung Avenue, Etobicoke. But this property, 426, is an investment property. Me and Tom as a partner.
So you're here representing 426 Royal York?
Yes, correct.
So, sorry, he just spoke from that, so there's only one person.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, sorry, so we've got his input. We can't have more than one speaker per property.
So can I present our petition with other people's name?
I believe you've included that in your materials that you submitted to us, no?
No, not yet. This one, I
Okay,
should
well then
present.
unfortunately, it's a little too late for that.
Live at 40 Simpson Avenue.
Okay.
If you live in a neighborhood
I live in 40 Simpson Avenue.
and you want to make some comments based on the neighborhood impact,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
welcome to do that.
Well, yeah, it's 5 minutes from the property
Yeah,
you're
so
talking about.
if you could speak to that rather than, we understand the impact of the next door property now.
Okay.
But if you want to speak to the neighborhood
Yeah,
impact,
yeah,
please
yeah,
go
sure,
ahead.
sure. And I've been living in this area for 15 years. We understand the community, they strong oppose the proposed rental development project for 430 Royal Oak Road. Number one, this obviously increase the traffic congestion in the already busy area. Two, strain on local infrastructure, including utilities, transit, and public services. Number three, excessive density. A 9-story building is too large for this small, no-rise neighborhood. Number four, parking issues. The plan lacks sufficient on-site parking, which will lead to overcrowded streets and disrupt neighborhood. Number five, waste management concerns, with potential for garbage overflow and improper disposal in this area. Number six, increased noise levels disrupt the peace and quiet of our neighborhood. Number seven, severe privacy issues. The height and the layout of the proposed building will directly overlook nearby 2-story homes. Number eight, disrupt of neighborhood character. The proposed development is inconsistent with the surrounding 2 to 3-story buildings because the whole street has all the buildings are 2 to 3-story building. The 9-story structure is not in harmonize with the city's planning policy and would alter the area's identity. That's what we believe with all the petition people signed on the paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas, anyone else in person? Or
So we have one person joining us virtually. I'll connect them now.
is that Paula Ferris?
Yes.
Paula, welcome.
I'm just gonna find her. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Hi, it's actually Paulina.
Oh, Pauline,
Farias.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I actually live right across the building that's being proposed.
So are you
and-
at 427 Royal York?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
I'm at 427 Royal York. Yes, so I live right across the street. The proposal will definitely invade our privacy. So the units across this, where I live, we all have rooftop patios, which is our only outdoor space. So the building would completely overlook our homes. So that's definitely a concern. There's already a ton of traffic congestion in the area. We have reached out to our counselor to put in another crossway. We have 2 very young children, so crossing that intersection is already very dicey. And there's a lot of traffic already with the construction that's coming up at the Gardner and all the constant construction in the city. I do have concerns about the 9-story building and how much more traffic that'll cause. Also, parking is a huge concern. So already on our street and the adjoining streets where there's a school right behind our house, there is always so many cars parked. So I can't imagine what having a 9-story building would do to that area. And just services. So it was already very difficult to even find daycares in our neighborhood. So if you're looking at the community as a whole, services would have to really be increased. We couldn't find daycare. We had to go further away from our homes to find daycare. So more services would definitely be added. We couldn't send our kids to the school of choice because of the amount of people that are already in the community. So I'd really want all that to be looked at very carefully before having this construction set up. Thank you.
Thank you. Are no other speakers, Thomas?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. If we can get the applicant back for the rebuttal. Joe?
I've just been unmuted.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, a couple points in response. It was mentioned that 230 Royal York is a 6-story building. Actually, right now, all that's been constructed is the core. That's actually been approved for 10 stories. So we're actually 1 story less than 230 Royal York. There was also a concern raised about windows on the north and south elevation. I'm not sure if it's possible to bring up the architectural plans, but I think it's important for the committee to note that there are blank walls on both the north and south side for the first 8 stories. There's only 2 very small windows on the 9th on each elevation. If you could go to drawing A5.03 and
1 sec, though, just pulling it up right now.
thank you very much.
Is this located in the plans you sent?
It's on the architectural set that are submitted with the, but you can see in this drawing too, like the north and south side have essentially no windows, and there's 2 windows just at the very top on the 9th floor, and they're small. And we've agreed through conditions to secure the elevations as part of any approval. There was a comment made about this being a small site. Have you ever seen a building of this nature on this site? I think it's important to note that there are no setbacks required for this site. We are seeking a height variance, but there's no front yard setback deficiency, no rear yard setback deficiency, no required additional setbacks on the north or south portions as well. There was a concern raised about privacy associated with the building across the street. Royal York is planned for a 27-meter right-of-way. In the city of Toronto, we typically see tall buildings 25 meters apart, and that's an appropriate separation distance to ensure that there is not undue privacy concerns. And so what I would say, sir, is this is very much an appropriate relationship with the properties across the street. There was also some concerns raised about traffic, transportation, garbage. We have worked long and hard with city transportation staff on those issues. You don't only have to take my word for it that the transportation is appropriate. The city staff report speaks for themselves. They have no concern with the lack of type G loading space. They accept the parking conditions. They accept the accessible parking space variance. This is the result of a lot of hard work leading up to this committee hearing. And for those reasons, I'll reiterate the request that we have the application approved by the committee, again, subject to all of the conditions that planning staff is seeking to impose as part of this approval.
So you have endorsement from planning, you don't have approval from the committee yet, just to clarify.
Absolutely, sir. That's why we're here before you today seeking your approval. You need to find that this application meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. That's the sole purpose of your mandate today.
Thank you. Are you done?
That's all for me, sir.
Okay, so I'll start off with questions and then turn it over to the panel. Can you update us on the status of the widening of Royal York? It's not at, is it not, it's not currently at 27 meters, is it?
I don't have the exact dimension. It's planned for 27 meters in the city's right-of-way. It's now been designated an avenue subject to the appeal being approved by the OLT.
A multitude of roads have been designated under that proposed policy, but the actual width of Royal York at this point, do you know what it is?
I don't. I could quickly check, but I don't have the number right in front of me.
Okay, so we're essentially, you're waiting on 2 things: that policy document and the official widening of that road.
I don't think the widening of the road. I don't think the widening of the road impacts the committee's decision on the minor variance application. It's planned for 27 meters, and I think that needs to be taken into account in determining whether or not the application meets the intended purpose of the official plan.
That's the rationale for allowing 27 meters in height. So that does affect the committee.
But when we look, so what I'll do is I'll get you the exact right-of-way width for Royal York. I can check that very quickly. But when we look at the test, we have to look at the official plan, and the official plan has it planned for 27 meters.
Understood. But that's one of the tests.
That's right.
So we know it meets that one test, but it must meet all 4 tests in order to be approved.
That's correct.
Okay. I'll turn it over to committee members for questions. Okay, seeing none. If you have that width, I'll take it. If not, we'll take it into committee now.
If you give me literally 1 second, sir, I'm at the page.
You got it.
I'm just doing the measurement now on the City of Toronto maps, so because I don't want to pretend that that I can eyeball it, and so if you look at it, the complete right-of-way width is 20 meters, and then if you take in the boulevard, which I think is important, sorry, I should include the boulevard as well. So building to building, it is.
No, but it's not building to building. What's the actual city property?
Yes, the city property includes the sidewalk. So
of course, it also may
that.
Include soft landscaping, but what it's
20. It's just under 25 meters, sir.
Okay, thank you. That's a good perspective. So committee, we'll take it into committee. If there's any discussion, now would be the time. If you're ready for a motion, but I think people may want to talk about it.
Yeah, would you mind? I think I just want to put some thoughts on the floor here. Yeah, this is a great response to an anticipated change to the official plan, the avenues designation, the rezoning that needs to come into place to implement that. However, I don't feel comfortable moving forward on planning documents that are under appeal, because I think it would be a potential disservice to the appellants who have not had their sort of day in court, so to speak. You know, it may turn out that the city's desired official plan amendment and bylaw are approved as written, and that this proposal would be quite in keeping with that. But again, I just don't feel comfortable moving forward. I'm particularly looking at variances 1 and 3. The FSI is about 60% higher than the current zoning bylaw allows, and the height is more than double in variance 3, more than double what is currently allowed. And I think it's important to acknowledge that we have to assess proposals against planning instruments that are in place today, in spite of what may come about through a successful appeal, should it be successful. So again, I don't want to be long-winded, but I don't feel comfortable moving forward on this.
Any other comments? If not, is anyone ready for a motion?
I am ready for a motion, but I don't think it's going to fly. But I'll make it anyway.
Okay, Mr. Dalton, go ahead.
No, I appreciate all the comments from the community members, but I am looking at the application and I get my other members' point of view in terms of there are certain things still in flux. But that said, based on the rules and regulations that are in play now, I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, and I would move a motion for approval subject to the Planning and Development Growth Services conditions.
Transportation?
Which is now transportation.
Oh, right. Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a seconder? Okay. Given that there is no seconder, I will declare the motion failed. And just a disclosure, because we're one panel member short today, I've been truncated and can't vote. So I leave it up to someone else to do another motion.
Mr. Chair, I have had consideration of the submissions of the applicant, of those in opposition, and having consideration to the notion of the risk and prematurity, potentially, of this application, I move to review.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Opposed? The motion to refuse is carried on a split vote. Thank you to everyone. Okay. So our next item is...
Sorry, Mr. Chair, before we start, we just had a switch, so...
Okay. It'll give me a chance to catch up on my notes.
So just for item 4, we have a Barbara. They're going to actually speak for item 3. And I just want to, once we get the agent on, I want to ask if they're representing item 4 as well, since we don't have the agent online. So once we connect them, I'll ask. And I'm just going to double check. There's one person. I'm just going to unmute you. Maple Design. Just want to make sure I get the right item for you. So Maple Design, what's your name?
Hi, this is Syed Ali Shabib. I'm the applicant for the client for 451 Evans Avenue.
Okay, perfect. Just next time, just make sure to put your name, not the company name. Thanks.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No problem.
I think it was there already, and we just logged in. That's why.
That's fine. You can stay as Maple Design. I just wanted to make sure I don't miss you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good to go. Thanks, Thomas. Okay, so item 3 is 289 Valermo Drive. Actually, can we deal with item 3 and item 4 together? Is the applicant okay with that?
So I'm just going to confirm with Bill that they're representing that one as well. So I'm just going to mute him.
Yeah, good morning. Yes, we're dealing with both applications, so we can.
So you're good with that? Okay, and we'll give you more than 5 minutes if you need it, because there's 2.
Okay. I don't think I'll need it, but that's
All
fine.
right. So let's deal with items 3 and 4 together. So that's 289 Valermo Drive and 287 Valermo Drive. For both applications, there are 13 variances being requested. These are applications to legalize and to maintain the semi-detached dwellings with an attached garage currently under construction. We have orders to comply in both cases. We have a letter of objection to 287 Valermo. And I believe that's all I have. So, Bill, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I will deal with them both together as it is a semi-detached, of course, and the variances requested are identical for both. Just to give you a bit of history, this was originally at the Committee of Adjustment back in 2001. It was denied by the committee. It went to the tribunal, and the decision was overturned. It was approved by the tribunal. There was a number of variances that were approved for both semis. All variances were approved. Building permits were issued, I think it was early 2024. Both semis were under construction, right to the top of the flat roof. Essentially, the inspector came out and did a measurement and determined that the height was slightly more than what was approved by the original variances. So we came back, applied for the zoning compliance review, and through the zoning compliance review, just so the committee is aware, there's 6 variances that were previously approved by the tribunal in 2022, and then there's a number of variances, including the height, that were added as part of the zoning compliance. So I'll just go through them very quickly. I'm not going to go into detail because, as I said, variances 1 through 5 that we're requesting for both applications are for the lot frontage, the minimum lot area, the permitted coverage, the gross floor area.
And those were the 5 that were approved on appeal. So
yeah,
you don't need to release.
Those were the 5 that were approved on appeal, as well as variance number 12. That's just for the driveway width, which is also minor. So those were all previously approved. So the variances we're dealing with today are 6 through 11. And just so the committee is aware, we're withdrawing variance number 13 at the request of the planning department. We had some discussions back a few weeks ago. Planning had no objections, but they did not want to see a variance for the energized outlet.
Thank you, because I was going to ask you that as well.
Okay. So we're happy to withdraw variance number 13 for both applications.
Okay, so you're amended to 12 variances.
Amended to 12 variances, yes. So to dealing with the variances that were 6 through 11. The whole reason for this application, once again, was number 6. The original approval by the tribunal was for a height of 8.76 meters. The inspector measured right to the top of the parapet of the built semi, a height of 9.03. This is the parapet. I'm not sure if it's possible to put a one elevation up for the committee's information. If staff could do that. It's not the entire height of the actual semi. It's just to the height of the parapet. It's not important. I think it's relatively minor anyways. If staff can't do it, that's fine. There we go. So you see there's two different variations. There is a higher height right in the middle. And that, once again, is just a parapet. It's only about 3 meters deep from the front elevation. The rest of the height remains at the 8.76. The other variances, all relatively minor, and as built situations as determined by the revised plans and the zoning review. Exterior main wall height of 8.5, whereas 8.71 is existing. The maximum, of course, is 8.5. Variance number 8, the cellar not exceed 1 meter from finished grade. The cellar was 1.64 meters from finished grade as built. I'm not sure what condition resulted in that, but anyways, as I said, it's relatively minor. The variances number 9, 10, 11 more or less are dealing with the decks, pedestrian entrance. Front wall is 1.2 meters above established grade, whereas 1.39 meters, sorry, it's existing at 1.39. The bylaw requires 1.2. Variance number 10, just a platform height, once again, very minor. Variance number 11 is once again another platform height, 0.3 meters of a front wall, maybe no longer than 1.2 or 1.24. So once again, very minor. So all in all, these additional 6 variances, I would suggest are minor. That the semis are mostly constructed at this point. And as I said, we did get the bylaw enforcement order. I think last year it took us this long to get the plans revised, to get the zoning review, get in through the committee meeting. So we're here today. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I think there was only one objection letter. I don't know if you want to address that at all, or just trying to look it up now.
I actually looked at the comments and such yesterday. I never saw the objection letter.
It's number, oh, it's under number 4, yeah. Looking in the wrong place. Yeah, they're mostly addressing drainage issues.
Okay, of course. You know, once the site is complete and graded, the drainage should be taken care of and certified.
Okay. Okay, any questions from panel members? No? Okay. All right, we'll take it into committee. Thank you. There's no one else, I'm assuming.
So yes, so Barbara wants to speak up for item 3.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just go ahead and connect there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Barbara Cruzel, and I'm representing my parents' home at 1 Goa Court, which actually it's the 289 Valermo Drive portion that is really affecting our property. And I just wanted to say we're having difficulty understanding how the city allows a build to proceed that does not meet 13 of the city requirements. So my understanding is that developers in Toronto are required to obtain the necessary permits before commencing significant construction. And the most concerning to us are the minimum required lot frontage, which is 1.15 meters over what is allowed. The maximum permitted height, which is 1.53 meters above the allowed. And the minimum required side yard setback is 0.28 meters, too close to our property line. These variances work in obstructing the view from our house. When I look out the back window, all I see is a large cement wall, and very large. I can understand and appreciate how new houses will be built to replace older ones, but we had faith that the city would take steps to protect the neighborhood and the residents. So what's incredibly frustrating is to have our view so significantly impacted by the new construction. It's understandable that you'd hope for some consideration from the city to manage the impact of development on the existing homes and neighborhoods, but I feel that it's really failed in this instance. I'm interested to know what recourse the residents affected by this build have at this point. What type of compensation can be offered as well. The build will be affecting our property value and our ability to sell the home. So my understanding is that the city has comprehensive zoning bylaws that regulate various aspects of construction, including building heights and setbacks, but were the permits provided to the builder allowed for the variances? I'm just assuming that by receiving these public hearing notices that none was issued, the violations confirmed. So my question is, what recourse do I, as a resident affected by the build, have where a development proceeds without adequate consideration for existing residents? is there some form of compensation that can be offered? Or is this a case of they do whatever they want and then ask for permission after? Because this will be affecting our property value and, like I said, our ability to sell. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. And before I turn it back to the applicant, I'm going to try to answer some of your questions. Part of the confusion on this is that 6 of these variances were already approved. And to answer your question, what does the city do? The city refused the original application, but the applicant has a right to appeal, and they appealed it, and they won on appeal. The confusion here is that those 6 variances that were already approved at the appeal level probably shouldn't even be on this notice because they're already approved. We can't unapprove them now. Anyway, that's just a way of explanation. So really what was at issue here, and the permits were issued, the houses were not built according to the permits in terms of height, and I think that's the main issue. They're slightly higher than what was permitted on the permit. And that's really what they're here for today, to get approval for that additional height. And with regards to if you feel your property value has been diminished, then I would recommend you contact MPAC, Municipal Property and Assessment Corporation, and have them reassess your property. But we can't do anything else about it. I'll turn it back to the applicant. Sorry, Bill?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. You provided pretty well the answer I was going to elaborate on. The only reason we applied for these additional 5 or 6 variances is because they're in the zoning compliance review. So we just, that it's automatically added as part of the variance request. But once again, as you noted, the reason for the variances today were simply put, the house, the top of the parapet at least, was built 0.27 meters or 27 centimeters higher than what was on the original plans. That was identified by the inspector. Permits were all issued prior to construction starting. The order to comply only came in when the inspector identified that the parapet was higher than what was on the original permit drawings. So that is the reason for variance number 6. Those additional variances, 7 through 11, essentially, all minor, are just as a result of the new zoning compliance review, that they identified some additional items pertaining to mainly all the decks, and all
Sorry,
items, in my
Mr.
opinion,
Chair,
once again, are very minor.
There's still another speaker, so we shouldn't be getting him.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize there was.
So there's an Eric Jones for item 4.
Oh, right. I'm the one who messed this up because I'm looking at the next item as if it's the next item, but we're doing them both together. So I'm sorry. My mistake. Mr. Jones?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Thanks for ignoring me. Sorry. My name's Eric Jones. I'm the neighbor. I have a couple concerns. I mean, the first one, obviously, I put forward was the drainage. He's got 2 downspouts on a very large property that's aimed at my house. It's only 1.5 meters away. So our house next door has extra drainage downspouts in the front and back. We have sub pumps running for about 40 or 45 days a year here. There's drainage problems, and obviously we try not to drain into the city's sewer system. So this house requires more downspouts, and it's certainly not aimed piece of property they only own 1.5 meters wide.
Sorry, anything else?
Yeah, that's number 1. Number 2, I was on this call in 2022 when Agnes got up for the local residents, and I was there because I thought the lot line was wrong and listened to her vehemently say this house was too large, and now I know they went through and got it through a tribunal, and they built even a larger house, kind of in the face of the neighborhood's response. And in that meeting, this committee did not approve the 9-meter house, and now the house has been built bigger. well, I don't think that's very fair for the local residents who you voted down 9 meters the last time. And the last point I have is that the house was built larger from the bottom. About a half a meter was added to the bottom of the house to basically turn this house into more from a 2.5 story to a 3-story looking house. And that's of course moved up all the deck, which was a sticky point the last time. And now the deck's up a half a meter or more than what was not accepted last time from this committee. So now we got somebody sitting up at somewhere around 2.25 meters up in the air, looking down on a whole bunch of decks that are walkout decks at ground level. And we got a fence that's less than 6 feet high that doesn't provide adequate privacy or noise suppression. And we got somebody that we, in 2022, this committee did not agree to that. So now it's even been moved up another half a meter, and it's intruding on the people's privacy and will be creating a lot more noise that cannot possibly be suppressed by the size of that deck or the fence. So half a meter they added was to add on the ground floor.
Yeah, I see that in variance 8.
So now you basically got a deck that was proposed at somewhere around 1.75 meters that's now going to be up at 2.25 meters or more. And that's one of the major sticky points that was discussed in 2022, and you did not accept it.
Correct. Sorry,
Well, we
Eric.
don't find that acceptable.
Okay. Anything else, Eric? You're still
No,
got your
that's
time.
it.
No. Okay. Thank you. Any questions from panel members? No. Okay. Is Barbara online as well?
So Barbara was the previous person that spoke before.
Okay.
Yeah. So everyone, there's no one else.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no one else. Yeah.
Sorry for the confusion there. I'm the one who combined them and then I screwed it up. Okay, so now let's come back to the applicant.
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
So
Chair.
I think there were some good points raised about variance 8 with regards to the finished grade. Anyway, and the deck.
No, if I can comment to that, I do appreciate the neighbors' concern. Obviously, you don't want to ever come into an after-the-fact change in variances. However, both variances number 9 and 11 pertaining to the heights of the decks, I would have to still contend they're very minor, 1.2 meters being required. We're 1.39 meters, so it's a matter of, what's that, about 8 inches or so. Number 11 pertaining to the height of the deck, once again, we're 1.24 meters of the front porch, 1.2 meters is, sorry, 1.24 we're asking for. The bylaw is 1.2, so that's a fraction of an inch, essentially. So once again, very minor. As far as the height's concerned, as I said, I just want the, once again, we put the elevation up, the committee to understand that it's just to the top of the parapet that we're asking for the additional height from the previously approved 8.76. It's not the full height of the entire units. It's the front parapet between the two semis. It's that particular area that requires the additional height. So once again, it's not the full unit. So, the grading concerns, so that the houses are not complete as of yet. Obviously, they need to get grading certification of the as-built to make sure that there's no impact of drainage on the neighboring properties. Once again, it's still under construction, and I'll relay that to both owners and to the contractors that they need to address that. There is a concern from the neighbor. But once again, prior to getting final grading certification of the as-built grades and so forth, that needs to be addressed. All in all, as I said, I understand we're back here today for additional variances. The pretent was only to ask for the height. The zoning compliance brought up these other things. I do wish to just reiterate that we're once again just asking for the additional 27 centimeters height to the top of that parapet area, only contained at the front of the units. The remainder of the units remain at the 8.76. So I'll leave it at that unless the committee has any additional questions. Thank you.
Yeah, if you could just touch a little bit more on the cellar height. I'm assuming that was not part of what was approved at the appeal board?
I don't quite get it because we had no cellar height variance from the original zoning compliance reports.
The original being
interesting
prior
know-
to the first hearing?
Of the 2021, yeah. So
Right.
there was no cellar. Oh, sorry, I apologize. Just sorry, one moment. I've got too many papers in front of me. There was no cellar height variance, correct? So, in fact, there was variances that were approved in 2021 that included total width of exterior walls, required side yard setbacks to the platform. Like there was a variance for that. We're just slightly different.
Okay, and you built according to the
But
drawings?
There's no cellar height, so it just may, what I was going to say is it just may have not been identified in the original drawings.
So the
or
grading,
the original zoning
the
compliance.
grading hasn't changed then?
To my knowledge, there's been zero change in the grading. I'm not sure why the additional height, potentially just additional height of the second floor level, but to my knowledge, there's no change in the grading. There's no change in the actual height of the foundation. I think this variance came up just simply because it was not part of the original 2021 zoning compliance review. So, I do not feel there's been any change whatsoever in the actual design of the original cellar. It just was not part of the original zoning compliance review.
Okay, so that was not a variance in the original application,
Correct.
but it is.
As the committee's
It appears to be a significant variance, though.
As I said, we were just only asked to address the height. This came up only during the zoning review. Was missed with the original application. As the committee knows, as long as you have the zoning compliance and you're in accordance with that, building permits are issued based on the approvals at the tribunal or at the committee of adjustment level. So for whatever reason, it was not part of the original zoning compliance review.
And that's been built now.
It's been built, constructed. Both semis are substantially constructed.
Okay, thank you. Panel members? Any questions? No? Take it into committee then, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question regarding the height variance. I think I'm looking at another map here. I think it's 6. The 9.03 height requested over 7.5 approved. Can you tell me if there's anything along the north or south sides of VALERMO between Bellman Avenue to the east and Treeview Drive to the west, in other words, the immediate context, that are at or above 9 meters in height? Is there any precedent or precedents on the street?
It's a good question. I don't necessarily have that. I know there's a number of heights.
I'm going up and down the street on Google here. I see a lot of bungalows. Oh, there's one. There's a flat roof house. I guess it's 272.
There is a lot of new builds. I do have all the decisions within 500 meters, but it would take a few minutes to go through them all to determine what other variances were approved. But I'm sure there's many variances for height.
This one's right on the corner of VALERMO and let's go see the name of the other street.
Yeah, I'm just, as I said, these are also all applications prior to 2021 is what I have. As I said, I've got variances for height. Beta of 8.82, I've got variances for height of 8.77, 50, I think Tremor. VALERMO, there was no height on the one couple I have here. Oh, there was 8.28. Just as a note, you mentioned 7.5 is required. We have our previous approval is 8.76 meters. So as I said, I have to go
TLAB
through
approved 8.76. Okay.
we're approved at 8.76, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I want to take it into committee. Any discussion, or is anyone ready for a motion?
I'll give it a whirl. I believe the application has amended. There's two applications, 3 and 4, and the applicant is now taking away item 13, so that's why I'm calling it as amended. Do meet the 4 tests, so I move a motion for approval as there are no conditions.
Mr. Dalton, did you exclude variance 13?
Yes.
Okay.
Calling it as amended.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay, the application is approved. Thank you to the applicant and the deputants.
Sorry, variances 12 and 13 or just 13?
It's 13 in both of them, right?
Yeah, 13 in both of them is eliminated, so it's 1 to 12.
Because it's 3 and 4 together, so.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yep.
1 to 12 for item 3 and 4. Okay, item 5 has been deferred, so we're on to item 6. 24 ELMCREST Road. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 5 variances being requested, and I don't think we have anything from city departments. Planning condition of approval? Yeah. Okay, forgot to add that. Victor Guttenberg, agent online.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Victor Guttenberg. I'm an architect, Guttenberg Group Inc. I'm representing the owner of this property, and I'm reside at 33 Belvedere Crescent in Richmond Hill, Ontario, L4C 8W1.
Okay, thank you. I think we're going to need a brief presentation. There is someone else to speak to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are proposing 2-story new house with integral garage, and the variances, the 2 variances, number 1 and number 2, related to building length and building depth. So partially the reason for this depth and length increase is the shape of the lot and the fact that the front of the house is not parallel to the front lot line, so it sits at the angle. And the way bylaw prescribe us to measure the depth and the length is actually illustrated on the side plan. You can see the depth measured from the further the corner of the house closest to the front lot line, and because the house sits at the angle, obviously it increases the depth, and the length measured along the midpoint height as due to the architectural feature of the house, which is split basically the main height facing 2 side lot lines are complies, but recessed portion and it's recessed quite a bit, like almost half a width of the house. It still has to be included in the main wall height calculation, so that's why we have this variance. It was discussed with planning staff, and I think they agree with we read the comments, and they agree with this. They think that it's still in the character of the neighborhood, and they just put a condition to touch any decision, if any positive decision, to side elevations. And we obviously agree with this condition. The last variance is small increase in the front steps, width of the front steps by a couple of feet. It's architectural feature. We don't want the steps to be proportionally looks too small compared to the size of the house. And the small increase in the width of the driveway 6.2 meters where 6 meters is required. That's applicable only to the portion of the driveway in front of the garage to fit two garage doors. The driveway itself narrows at the road, and so basically it's only a small portion in front of the house. So that's basically my brief presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you. No questions, I'm assuming? Okay. Thanks. We have the next door neighbor, I believe, online.
That's it. Oh, okay. But what I'm saying is you don't have to go there, come back here when you do the rush job.
Hello, Joseph. You're unmuted. Joseph?
Joe Cotter?
Yes, speaking.
Yes.
Good day. Can you just give us your name and address for the record and then tell us what you think?
My name is Joseph Kodak. I live on 24 ELMCREST Road. I don't have really any major concerns.
Sorry,
I want
you're
to
24 or 26?
26.
26 ELMCREST Road.
Sorry. Okay, so do you have any concerns or do you have anything you want to tell us?
Not at this point. I wanted to see what's the plan and what they're gonna say. At this point, I would say just observing. I know there's a couple of variances which pertains to the width and the length. So that was my only concern, I guess, slight concern. But other than that, nothing major from me.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure you need to do a rebuttal there, Victor, but you're welcome to say something if you like.
Basically, I don't have much to add. We don't have variance for the width. For the length, I already explained the nature of this variance, and I just want to emphasize it's a fairly large lot, and we are complying with lot coverage and the building height. So I think the overall of the house, even so there are some variances, it fits in the character of neighborhood and complies with 4 tests of planning.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, there are no other speakers?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thanks. Anyone ready for a motion?
I'm ready for a motion unless there are any other comments. Having considered all of the submissions and noting that community planning has a condition requiring building in accordance with the plans dated March 7, 2025, I move to approve on the basis that it otherwise meets the 4 tests.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Okay, that's approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A couple more before break. Okay. Item 7, 34 GROVETREE Road. This is an application to construct a 2-story front addition and a 2nd-story addition above the existing attached garage. This will be considered a new dwelling. There are 6 variances being requested. Planning is requesting 2 conditions of approval in the event that we approve. Ravina Natural Forestry has advisory comments, and TRCA has advisory comments. And we have Tony in person.
Yes.
Welcome. Could you just get your name and address for the record, please?
Good morning. My name is Tony Valentin. I am the agent for the client.
Okay,
That's like what you mentioned. We have 6 variances originally, okay, but we can comply with item number 1. Oh, number 2 actually in the list, and the last item which is under item number 7. We will comply with the required height requirements.
I don't see item 7. There's only 6 variances.
Yes.
You have to use the notice, not the zoning review.
That's not the same? Mhm.
What are the items? Maybe we can help you out.
So are you proposing to withdraw a variance?
Pardon me?
Are you proposing to withdraw one of the variances?
Two variances. Number,
So,
first one, which is the height of the building. We are willing to comply with that because it's only a difference of 3 inches.
So variance number 5, which is height,
Yes.
9.5, and you're requesting 9.7, so you're going to withdraw that.
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to, okay.
And the last one, which is actually the platform on the first floor, which is a balcony in the front. We are going to eliminate that.
So number 6, so you're going to still build a platform, but it'll be 4 meters square or less?
No.
No platform?
We're completely.
That's up to you. Okay.
Yes.
Either way, you're okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're
what remains is 4 variances.
so you're amending it to 4 variances.
That's right.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
With regards to the length,
I don't think you need to get into the details.
okay.
Thomas, there's no other speakers?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So if you want to just, don't go away, and if we have any questions, if you could answer those?
No.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay,
If you confirm that you, sir, that you are aware of the community planning has 2 conditions, and I don't know if they have an impact on minor variance.
no, they're bird-friendly treatment for windows and doors and that kind of thing, because it's on a ravine.
Are you aware of those and content to comply with those conditions?
Pardon me?
Planning is asking that you use bird-friendly treatments on your windows and doors. Are you okay with that?
Yes, yes, we are.
Thank you.
Okay. Please.
Yes, sir. Can you tell us if there are any other houses on GROVETREE Road that are approximately 590 square meters in floor space index or larger?
I think there are several houses, and I believe we sent to the committee some pictures of the houses along the on GROVETREE Road.
Can you give me an address or two?
Yes.
I'll just look at them on the map here.
And I'm assuming that the FSI is so high because of the non-buildable area in the rear,
Oh, okay.
right? So that if it was a full lot, I think that there would be much, yeah.
Okay, there's the number 54, GROVETREE, which is also a 2-story. Number 46, 2-story. 44, 38.
Okay, that's fine, sir. It wasn't the number of stories I was concerned with. It was the size, but it's
yeah,
been
but they're
pointed
all-
out that's related to the top of
They're
it.
almost the same size.
You have a very limited development.
If you were to consider the entire building lot as opposed to what is considered floodplain, do you know what your FSI number would be then?
I beg your pardon?
It's okay. It's okay.
That's fine.
Okay. If there are no other questions, is anyone ready for a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to move a motion for approval. I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, and that'll be the application as amended because you're taking away items 5 and 6, and then on condition of the April 22nd, 2025 planning conditions.
Seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Povic. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item 8, 2548 Weston Road. This is an application to legalize and maintain a motor vehicle dealership / sales office within a portable structure. There is one variance being requested, and Metrolinx has advisory comments. No other departments have any comments. And Arash.
Hello, Mr. Chair and
Good
Hi,
morning.
Mr. Chair and committee members. Good morning. My name is Arash Bahamin at 4789 Young Street, representing the owner of 2548 Weston Road.
Okay, I don't think we need a full presentation. I think we understand what's before us. If you're okay or amenable to us just asking some questions.
Sure.
Perfect. I'll start. How long has the dealership been in place?
Since 2014, to my knowledge.
Okay. Sorry, Bill. I thought you were asking a question, but no, it's okay. Anyone else? No? Okay. If not, are there any other speakers on this item?
None registered.
Okay. Okay, I just have a comment. I mean, I was looking at Google Maps on this, and it just looked a little unkept. So I don't know if we can ask the applicant to do some lawn mowing occasionally, or maybe that's not the case anymore.
Well, I do have a question.
Okay.
Now that I've done scratching my head. So this use seems to be compliant with the zoning because the underlining zoning is CR, but then it's also subject to 150.90 and 569. And in that, it indicates that it needs to have a minimum 3-meter soft landscaping strip along the lot line. Do you?
Yes, sir. So basically, we do have the quite soft landscaping at the front of the fronting Weston Road. And just really quick, as a really quick background of this matter. So we already had another approval in a temporary kind of conditions for a period of 10 years back in 2014 for the use of this portable trailer. And the reason is we want to keep the owner want to keep the operations of the car dealership active until the ultimate future developments. We already had a pre-consultation meeting with the staff for future mid-rise development. So there are some plans for this, and mainly the reason of this application is to keep the operations active until the future. But going back to your question, yes, the landscaping strip and buffer is already there.
Good, thank you.
Okay, let's come back to that, because on Google, I see a landscaping strip on the side street on Cordell, but I don't see that on Weston Road other than the City Boulevard portion, which is not part of your property.
Sorry, sir, let me...
Are you referring to
confirm
the
this.
strip
Yeah.
of land between the sidewalk and the road? Because that's not a landscaping strip. That's part of the boulevard.
Just if you could give me 2 seconds, I'm confirming this really quick here.
So they're missing a variance. I don't see it either.
As a comment, there is a photo of the unit in the materials. If we call that up, I don't see it either on their own photo supplied to us. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's fronting the other street, not
That's
not Weston
fronting
Road.
the side street.
Yes, that's correct.
So are we missing a variance then? Like, was this?
So the next question is, though, did you do a zoning review or did you use a waiver? Waiver?
Because of having the previous approval back in 2014, and the only variance which was identified, which was the floor area of the sales office, we proceeded with the zoning waiver form for this one. So that's why we didn't have any zoning review for this.
The bylaw has changed since 2014 though, so you took responsibility for identifying it, and it might be incorrect.
So can I request a deferral of the application until we conduct a zoning review for this one?
Yeah, you can. I just like one more question. And in 2014, did you receive an approval with a timeline?
Yes.
What was the timeline?
10 years to my knowledge.
Okay. Yeah, it's not on file. And just a comment to staff, 'cause we had this issue at the last meeting as well. It would be really helpful to have the previous decisions as part of the package.
If I may say something?
On this issue?
Of the landlord.
No. If you've got the agent speaking on your behalf, then you can't have it both ways.
I have the decision here.
That's fine. It doesn't change the zoning bylaw. It doesn't change the requirement for you to have the landscaping strip.
Oh, okay. No, I thought maybe you wanted that.
No, that's fine. I'm just giving these people notice that we didn't like what they did or didn't do, okay? Nothing to do with you. So are you requesting deferral then?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. We'll take it to committee.
With that, I'd move a motion in support of the deferral to give the applicant more time to review the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton.
And to submit a zoning review.
And to submit a zoning review, please. Thank you.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay, the item is deferred. You don't lose anything. You just got to come back. Okay, item 9, 96 Dunedin Drive. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 3 variances being requested, and I believe there are no city comments. So, Danielle Hornbrook online.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I can speak to this file. There are, as you mentioned, there are 3 minor variances. And I can either answer questions or I can speak to the variances and how they relate to the 4 tests of planning.
I think we're good
I
with,
can go through
I
it.
think we're good with just questions, if you're okay with that.
I am, sir.
Thank you, sir. Panel members, any questions? This one's been before us a number of times
there's a lot of
previously, and there's been a lot of back and forth on it. I have a whack of questions, but I'll just, if anyone else has any, I'll let them go first. Okay, just while people are waiting, so does this application include installing the driveway at number 98?
There is a driveway and always has been at number 98.
I'm not referring
there-
to the mutual drive, but the one that you're showing on your drawings.
So that would be the driveway is between number 94 and 96. And number 94 currently encroaches just on the city portion into the front, let's call it, if you were to, the front lot lines, if you were to draw perpendicular from the side lot lines. They encroach into what number 96, where the proposed driveway will be. Now, on number 96, which is currently a vacant lot, it has its own driveway. It is a separate driveway that is mutual for the first 10 or 15 feet. In my proposal, I have proposed removing that mutual portion and reinstating the curb. And then the driveway, the existing driveway at number 96 will be strictly for that house. So it'll remove the mutual portion of the driveway, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just need to pull up Google to get myself refamiliar with
Sure.
So just to reconfirm, if I could just jump in. So February 8th, 2024, you were here and got approved on condition for a multiplex with 39%.
I did.
With 39% coverage, but now you're going back for a new detached dwelling. No, so no longer a multiplex, or is it?
No, it is not a multiplex.
Okay.
And if you look, the coverage is a little bit misleading. It's showing 44% coverage that I'm asking for, which is
Right.
correct. But it actually requires less than 42% coverage. The reason for the additional coverage is that what became aware to me that I was not previously aware of is that for me to construct a shed in the rear yard, you're allowed to build a shed of up to, I think it's 100 or 120 square feet, something of that nature.
100 square feet.
What I wasn't aware of is that it counts as coverage. So I asked for the extra coverage for now in the event that I decided to build a shed so that I'm not coming back to the committee yet again. And with that said, I want to make it clear that if approved, the extra coverage does not allow me to go back and alter the house in any way, because the house, that would change the FSI, and likewise it would either change the side yards or the rear yard encroachment, and so it would necessitate a variance. So it's not something that I'm holding back in hopes of doing something later, other than possibly doing a shed to hold bicycles, etc.
Yep. Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to come back to my driveway question. So number 98 currently has a mutual drive on the north side of that lot, correct?
So, okay, so I want to, it's mutual at the entrance on the city portion, but the driveway itself is not mutual.
Okay, I'm not
There's a
referring to
dividing-
the,
there's
I'm
a
actually not,
hedge.
I'm actually not referring to the driveway at number 96. On your drawing, on your site plan, you have a proposed new driveway for number 98, but that's not before us now. So I'm just trying to understand why that's there.
So I'm sorry, I'm not following either. Number 98 is, the driveway is 40 feet away from number 96, if that makes sense, to where the driveway at number 96 is proposed.
Understood.
They're 40
Okay,
feet away.
You know what, okay. Let me read.
The mutual that you're talking about, or the portion where the driveways run together at the city, at the street line, if you will, is between number 94 and number 96. And the reason I'm showing a new driveway is because I'm moving the entrance to the driveway.
No, I understand. I
For
understand.
number.
I understand. what
Okay.
you're doing. Yeah, no, that's, I don't have a problem with that. I totally understand what you're trying to do there. It's just, you've provided.
I see.
Maybe we can pull up the site plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
On that site plan, you have a proposed curb cut for a new driveway on number 98. Like, why is that part of this site plan?
That's an oversight. that was dealt with 4 or 5 years ago when that property was, a driveway was added to that property. That, I'm not seeing what you're saying. Oh, I'm blowing it up here. Okay, I see that. That shouldn't
does
say
that-
proposed.
does-
That's an oversight.
Does that driveway currently exist?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so that's nothing to do with
That
this-
driveway exists. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Now I see it. Yeah, that should have been removed. I think it's existing.
Okay, so that should be labeled as existing driveway, not proposed.
Correct.
Because I'm assuming the owner owns both properties, so,
No, they
No?
don't.
okay,
That is owned by a separate owner and was dealt with 5 years ago. That's a separate driveway, and it's just, it shouldn't have been a part of this, proposal.
okay, so let's ignore that, or let's revise that after this hearing, if you get approval.
Fair enough.
So then we're going back to a previous decision from 2021, which gave you a FSI of 0.54, is that correct?
That was for number 98.
Well, that was 98.
So
Okay.
once upon a time.
Yeah, I'm getting
it
the
was
two
owned
mixed
by
up in my
two-
mind. That's fine.
No
2024,
worries.
okay, got it. Okay,
It's been a confusing.
because I've
application from
seen,
the get-go.
like, this is the fourth iteration of this. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Hard to follow. Okay, so what, that's fine. I'll turn it over to someone else if there's any additional questions while I try to figure out my brain now. Okay, so you're not asking for an FSI in your,
Yes, sir. I
You
am
are.
asking for a variance
83,
for
okay.
FSI of 0.83, a side yard variance.
no, I got that.
On the north side.
And you're saying that part of that FSI is attributable to a shed to be constructed at some point in the future?
No, sir, not the FSI, but
The
But
coverage.
the coverage.
The coverage, okay.
Correct.
Okay, so then my next question is, do you have comparables of 0.83 FSI in that neighborhood?
Yes, sir. I have many of them. I could read them off. I don't. I mean, I know them off the top. There's many. The 0.83 is consistent with. I could tell you 3 or 4 houses on Strath. It's consistent with numbers 4, 6, 8, and 10 on Shand Avenue. These are new developments on similar size properties. So and there are a couple as well on Dunedin. So this is very consistent with the FSI and new developments.
Okay, fair enough.
Can you tell us which properties on Dunedin specifically, the addresses?
You know what? I don't have that with me. The other ones I can rhyme off because I built them. The ones on Dunedin I didn't build, and I honestly, if you wanted to give me a few minutes, I could come back at the end of the hearing and supply you with them, but I don't have that at my fingertips. But certainly on Strath and also McClinchy, again, because these are homes that I built, I am familiar with, with the intimate details of those properties, and they were all in the area of 0.80 and 0.83, or 0.85, I'm sorry, FSI, as well as coverage is between 41 and 44% coverage.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just tell you that our primary consideration or concern is the immediate context, not the neighborhood.
I understand that. I think I don't know how to speak to that other than to say that this has been a contentious property from the get-go with respect because it's been a vacant lot for many years. And there was opposition, on anything and everything that I've proposed. And when I applied to do the multiplex, it was approved, and the FSI there, if you want to count FSI, they don't with multiplexes, but The dwelling itself was 4,200 square feet. What I'm proposing here is under 3,000 square feet. So in terms of if you want to apply FSI, this is considerably smaller. But more importantly, I'm in for permit with respect to the multiplex, and I've had a lot of resistance, a lot of calls, and I live in the neighborhood, and I intend to live in the new proposal, whether it was a multiplex or a single-family home. And honestly, I'm 67 years old. I don't want to fight with neighbors anymore. So I suggested to one of the neighbors that, listen, if you want me to build a single-family home, I don't want to fight anymore. I'll apply for a single-family home. And that's what I did. And I think based on, and with that said, the single family home that I'm proposing now versus the one that I proposed a few years ago, I've reduced the variances by 2 or 3 variances, 2 of them for sure, I believe. I've also reduced the coverage. I've also reduced the FSI. So I'm not just recycling something, it's an entirely new drawing. And I went from a modern design with a flat roof to something more in keeping with what the neighbors, I think, wanted to see. And I think by virtue that there's nobody speaking out against it for the first time, it's certainly been accepted by the neighborhood. And respectfully, I hope so with respect to the committee. I also spoke with the planning department, and by virtue of no comment, they appear to be on side with it as well.
Yeah, I would echo that. This is one that we've seen a lot of opposition on, and given that there's no opposition to this, it speaks volumes. On that note, let's take it into committee.
Good. With that, I do believe the application is a good one and meets the 4 tests, and I would move a motion for approval as there are no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Seconder?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Povic. All in favor? Okay, that application passes unanimously. Couple more before break, or do you guys want to do a break now? Okay, so we'll break till 11:35. Is that reasonable? Okay, take a 10-minute break. Thanks.
They've been going on for a week now. They're going back down already.
But they're not the large ones, they're the smaller.
Oh no, they're big. You should, when you get a chance, they're over around there.
Yeah.
They're big. They're big flowers. They're big. prior? But if you get off there, it's not gonna be. My buddy's got some weird tree that does that with rocks and flowers or now seeds. They usually pull flowers. Really, this that's the tree. wrong spot, they're gonna overshadow something else. It was one. Yeah. There you go.
Okay, we're kind of there. Thomas, we're good? Okay. Okay, welcome back. So our next item for this morning, we're still in the morning. Item 10, 15 Blaketon Road. And this is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 3 variances being requested. Planning has a condition of approval. In the event of approval, Forestry was recommending denial. However, the applicant has made some adjustments to the driveway, and Forestry is now good with conditions 1 and 2. And we have an arborist report on file. And welcome.
Good morning. My name's Darren Sills. I live at 41 Brennan Avenue, and I own 15 Blaketon Road.
Okay, I don't think we need a full presentation.
No, there's not much there.
If you're open for questions,
Sure.
we'll shoot those if we have any. Any questions? No? All right. Good to go then.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone ready for a motion? Okay.
I don't think I've made one yet since the minute. Got to show people I know what I'm talking about. I'm satisfied your application meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and I move approval subject to urban forestry conditions 1 and 2 and the community planning condition.
Okay, is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 11, 402 Blackthorn Avenue. This is an application to enclose the existing rear porch. There are 3 variances being requested. We have advisory comments from Metrolinx, and we have no other department comments. Eddie Perez is the agent, and Eddie is online.
Hello, good morning, Chairman and committee members. My name's Eddie Perez. I'm here at 537 Rogers Road.
Okay, Eddie, thank you. I don't think we need a full presentation here. I think it's straightforward what's being asked. I just have a question around landscaping. It looks like there isn't any soft landscaping.
Yeah, we don't have a soft landscaping variance. Also, the floor index is over because they're counting the basement. That's what brought the number up. They're counting the basement because it's more than half above grade.
Okay. We understand that. I know you don't have a variance for soft landscaping, but I don't think you have any. Do you? Is there any on the property?
Yeah, there is land. There's 50% landscaping there.
Okay.
It's on the drawing.
Okay. Take your word for it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Anyone ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I will move the motion to approve on the basis, I echo your comments about the soft landscaping issue, but that's not one of the variances. Otherwise, the matter appears to meet the 4 tests. There are no conditions.
No.
That's the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Povic. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Belton. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Perez.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thanks. Number 12, 27 Miles Road. And this is an application to construct a second-story rear addition above the existing dwelling. There are 2 variances being requested. There are no comments from city departments. There are 3 letters of support. And Nicholas Allen is our agent online. Mr. Allen?
Hi, can you hear me?
Kind of faintly.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, much
I'll
better.
Speak louder.
Much better.
Okay.
Okay. Again,
Can
I
you
don't
hear
think
me now?
I don't think we need a presentation. If you're open to questions, we could leave it at that.
Yeah, that's not a problem. If it's helpful, I can provide some context on the reasoning for the proposal, but I'm happy to move forward with questions.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the variances look quite minor, so anyone have any questions, or do you want to take it into committee for, there's no other speakers, I'm assuming, on this?
No, Mr. Chair.
No, okay.
No questions?
No questions.
Okay, good. I'll move a motion for approval. I believe the application meets the 4 tests, and there are no conditions.
Okay, seconder?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair, and I note also there are 3 neighbors in support.
Yes. It's okay. Okay, all in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you very much.
Item 13 has been deferred, so we're on to item 14, which is 51 Munhall Road. And this is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage and a rear deck. There are 5 variances being requested. Forestry is requesting condition 3, and there are no other city department comments. And we have agent online.
Renato?
Mr. Neto?
Yes.
Good no, it's not afternoon yet. Good morning.
No, it's still morning.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm the agent representing the owners of 51 Munhall Road.
Okay, I was wondering how you pronounce that. So we don't have, I don't think we need a presentation. If you could just stand by for questions if we have any, if you're okay with that.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. So, panel members, any questions? If not, let's take it into committee, if anyone's ready for a motion.
I'm anticipating there are no questions, so I'll table a motion. I'm satisfied the application meets the 4 tests, and I move approval subject to urban forestry condition 3.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you for the second. Is there all in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Neto.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to item 15, 8 Deanfield Crescent. This is an application to construct a second-story addition above the existing dwelling, a new converted front porch, and a 1-story west side addition. There are 3 variances being requested. Transportation is not in support of variance 3. And there was an error on the notice, which we think is not fatal because the numbers were correct at least. So variance 2 should read requesting 0.53, not 0.3. Okay. And Robert Abramovich. And I probably spelled.
Hi, this is Robert Bramowitz. I'm the owner at 8 Deanfield Crescent.
Okay. If we could, I don't think we have any issues other than transportation. And if we can address that, And I think I understand what the issue is, but I'll let you make some comments first.
Sure, and I would appreciate any clarification you could give because I don't particularly understand the issue myself. But all we were trying to do right now, we've already had the permit for the second story addition. We've completed the addition. What we're looking at doing is simply moving our existing one-car garage forward to give us a little extra storage. We're not looking to widen anything at all. Just literally moving that existing one-car garage, which is attached to the current dwelling, forward to come closer to the front of the house.
Okay, give me a sec to pull this. I'm still on number 14 here. Went through those.
Yeah, but with that, transportation is noting a width of 2.88 versus the 3.2 meters required.
And I think what that is I believe the 2.88 is the pinch point with the chimney breast. Can you confirm that? Robert?
At some point in the design, it's not fully complying with the 3.2.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I mean, there's no chimney or anything on the existing garage.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pull up the site plan.
Because the site plan has one dimension on a 3.37.
Yeah, which is compliant.
Which is compliant, but then there is something jutting out, but I don't see a dimension.
But there's no dimension given at the jut out, and I suspect that's where your 2.88. Yeah. And I've got a 2.75 garage, so I get it. It don't work at that dimension.
On the site plan, there appears to be a dimension for the distance between the jut out, I guess a fireplace, and the bottom of the house.
We've removed that completely.
So there's no longer a chimney breast there?
No, there's no chimney, no fireplace. We removed that when we took down the external wall. So there is no, that jut out does not exist anymore.
But we don't have that plan.
Well, we don't have that plan, and it looks like transportation doesn't either, and that's why they're questioning the width of your garage.
Okay, I understand. So what can I provide to show that?
Well, we can do this one of two ways. Either we can deny that variance because in theory you're going to be in compliance, or you can take a deferral and resubmit the correct drawing.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So if you denied the variance because there technically is no more variance, we could just proceed as planned. Is that correct?
Yeah, but you're the one that needs to take to make the decision that you have comfort that you don't need that variance.
But Mr. Chair, even the dimensions show an interior width of 3.1, which doesn't comply.
Where?
On the floor plan.
It's showing 3.37.
I'm looking at 3.1.
On the site plan.
No. On the ground floor.
On the ground floor plan. Okay, I haven't looked at that.
Seeing it's too pixelated to read anything else on. Well, I can't see anything beyond the 3.37.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any dimensions given on that. And it's still showing the jut out for an existing fireplace.
Yes, it's showing the jut out, but even without that jut out, they wouldn't comply for the interior width.
So I think you're going to need to do a deferral and straighten out your drawings.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're taking too big of a risk. You're going to be, because if we deny that, you come back, you can't do it, you're going to have to reapply for another hearing and pay another fee.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I believe the applicant is requesting a deferral.
So with that, I'll move a motion for deferral to allow the applicant time to revise their site plan.
And drawings. And floor plan.
And floor plan.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay, Mr. Abarovich, your
And that also means you need a new zoning review to confirm the variances.
item has been deferred.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 16, 3 Chelsea Drive. This is an application to construct a second-story addition above the existing dwelling, a new covered front porch, a new rear deck, and a new detached garage in the rear yard. There are 2 variances being requested. Forestry is requesting condition 2 in the event of approval. And we have Mark Lilly as the agent in person. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Not sure if we need a presentation, but we would like to do some questions if you're good with that.
Sure.
Okay. I have some questions around your site plan, so if anyone else has questions, please go forward. I'm going to try to pull up the drawings in the meantime.
Just with respect to variance 2, I presume because this is a top-up, your front lot line is existing?
Yeah, yes, the front lot line is existing.
Oh, okay, I get it. This is, so you're going over top of the veranda. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, that was my, yeah. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine. I made the note when I was reviewing it, and then found the answer to my question, but forgot to scratch up the note. Yeah, thanks. Bit of that going on today. Okay, so there are no other speakers to this item?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. We can take it into committee then.
Just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of an okay with urban forestry condition 2?
Yes, I believe it's with regards to the south tree, probably regarding the garage. So
It's on your
yeah,
client's property.
yeah.
Well, if there are no questions,
I don't think so.
I'm prepared to make a motion. I find the the 2 variances requested meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act. And I move approval subject to urban forestry condition 2.
Okay, seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Lilly.
Thank you very much.
Bill. So moving on to item 17. 451 Evans Avenue. This is an application to construct a 1-story front and rear addition, a 2nd-story addition above the existing dwelling, and a rear yard deck. There are 2 variances being requested. There are no comments from any city departments. Saeed is our agent virtually.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of committee.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Sayed Shabib, and I'm the applicant for the project at 451 Evans Ave.
Welcome. I don't think we need a presentation. Again,
Okay.
if you're willing to just stand by for questions.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Anybody with any questions? No, even better. Okay, let's take it into committee then.
If there are no questions, I believe this matter and the 2 minor variances sought meet the 4 tests. I do not see any conditions and move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Republic. Seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bill. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Said.
Thank you.
Okay, picked up a little bit of time there. Number 18, 55 Lothian Avenue. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 10 variances being requested. Planning has a condition of approval in the event that we approve. Forestry is requesting 2 conditions, Forestry 2 and 3, in the event that we approve. We have an objection letter from number 24, Springbrook, which is next door. And we have 8 people in support. And Alexander Overholt is the agent online.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, panel members. Can you
Good-
hear me?
Good morning, sir. We can hear you loud and clear. And on this one, we are going to need a presentation, if you will.
That's quite all right. I have a presentation that was submitted to you guys so I can provide some visuals to all 4 of you.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Before we jump into it, I just want to make it known that you did state there are 10 variances, but we will be eliminating variance number 9.
Okay. Okay, good. I had questions around that.
Me too, when I saw it.
So so you have now 9 variances.
That is correct. 9 variances, 1 letter of rejection, and I believe it was 9 letters of support for our
Okay,
application.
what about variance
I
number?
saw the-
Sorry, what about variance number
Go
10?
ahead.
Number 10, which is related?
Yes. Yes, I think the confusion was whether or not our AC was ground mounted or wall mounted. But as per our site plan or elevations, we're proposing a wall mounted AC unit, which is an encroachment of 8 centimeters into the required encroachment.
Okay, so are you proposing to eliminate both variances 9 and 10, or just one of them?
Just number 9.
I see. So you now know that you're going to have a wall mounted, not a ground mounted.
That is correct.
Because at first I thought you're putting in 2 AC units, but okay. All right. So variance 9 to be removed.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you for your time. As mentioned, we are proposing a new 2-story single-family dwelling with an internal garage located at the intersection of Lothian and Springbrook Drive, Springbrook Gardens. As mentioned, we have 9 variances. The first variance I'd like to touch upon is our lot coverage variance. So we're proposing a percentage of 36.9% when 33% is allowed. This is an increasement of 3.9%. When reviewing the previous approvals and other structures in the area, which you can see on page 4 of our presentation, there are some other structures such as 34 Lothian that was approved for a 41% variance and 42 Lothian that was approved for 38.9%. When developing our design and our proposed massing, we made sure we reviewed all the previous approvals in the areas and studied the existing streetscape as well to ensure that our proposed massing meets the needs of the local area. In speaking with planning, they had no concerns with our proposed lot coverage variance. The second variance I'd like to touch upon is the floor space index. What's required is 0.45. We are proposing 0.61. That's an increasement of 0.16 FSI, which equates to an area of approximately 77.53 square meters. Again, when speaking with the planning department, who was very kind, they again had no concerns, as well as this FSI is quite consistent in the local area as well. If you can kindly refer to page number 9, I would love the opportunity to touch upon our building length variance. Excellent, thank you. Now, as you can see, there are 2 different dimension lines here. The one in yellow relates to our above grade building length, which equates to 16.89 meters, which complies with the bylaw. And that additional 1.53 meters, which creates the building length and depth variance, is due to the rear excavated space underneath the porch. When I explained this to the planning department and I showed them our cross sections, they realized that because our massing is above grade and complies, again, they had no concern with the building length. We do have a height variance. We're proposing 10.04 meters when 9.5 is allowed. If you can kindly refer to page 6 of this presentation that my team has put together, you can see there are numerous comparables in the area, if you don't mind. Excellent, thank you. We are increasing our height of 0.54 meters. This is due to the type of roof we're going for and the type of architecture being more traditional. In speaking with planning, again, no concerns here. As you can see, number 41 Lothian was approved for 0.49 meters, which is just down the street, and 56 Springbrook Gardens was approved for a 10.72 meter value, which is a 1.2 meter increase. When we explored the streetscape with the planning department and they saw this, they were in support of our application, had no concerns. Now, as per the planning letter, they mentioned that the condition of approval is ties to our west elevation due to the main wall heights. If you refer to our building elevations, you can see that our main wall height is due to the type of roof structure we have with this open face gables, right? I want to make it known that the rest of our main wall heights, where the underside of the eaves falls, has actually a value of 6.78 meters. This is more of a technical variance, again, due to the type of elevation and roof structure we are pursuing. And once this was explained to the planning department, they understood it, which is why they held us to the condition of approval. The only other variance I would like to, there's two variants I'd like to touch upon. Number 7, which is the porch encroachment into the exterior side yard. If you refer to the site plan, you can see that our exterior porch is flush with the property line, but once reviewed from a distance of the adjacent street, which is approximately 6.5 meters, planning department had no concerns. And our last variance that I would like to touch upon, as I have 30 seconds left, is number 8 with the location of the driveway. I just want it to be known that if you do refer to our site plan, you can see that the existing driveway is also located exactly where our proposed driveway is as well. Thank you for your time. I welcome any questions.
Thank you. I have a couple before we go to the committee members. Is there any reason why the AC unit can't be located on the north elevation?
Towards the rear, I mean, it was a thought, but because the adjacent neighbor has their framed deck in the rear, which I would assume they would probably spend a lot of time during the summer days, we felt like if we placed it at the rear, there'd be actually more of a noise disturbance from our AC unit, not just occurring to our clients in their rear amenity space, but also the adjacent neighbors as well, which is why we kept it where it is.
Okay, well, we'll hear from them what they think about that. Then the next question is, any thought to having shifted slightly to the west to eliminate the side yards variance to the east? I know it would have created.
We just. Oh, sorry, my apologies.
No, go ahead.
There was that thought initially, which would then incur an exterior yard setback variance. We went through many different design revisions in order to create a compact space planning here. And we wanted to ensure that the garage was still located with the location of the existing driveway as well. And because if we did encroach further to the west, that area of the covered porch, which would be used to gather individuals, would be reduced more and more. That's primary why, as well as because of the corner lots, we were worried about UPO protection values due to the exposed windows alongside Lothian Avenue, which is why we tried to shift the house more towards the right, incur the side yard setback into the interior yard.
Okay. Any questions from panel members? No. So if we can go to this now, I just want to get a clarification because we have 2 speakers on the list, but they both have the same address.
So yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to ask the first person, so Jacob, and let's see who wants to speak.
Morning, can you hear us?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering which one of you wants to speak, because if you're both representing the same address, we can only have the one speaker.
Yeah, so I'm going to speak.
Sorry, and-
When we were registering, it was a little
Okay.
confusing.
And you're Jacob?
Yes, I am. So good morning to the members of the committee, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Jake Kremble, and I'm joined by my partner, Curtis Schultz. So we live at 24 Springbrook Gardens, and I am the owner of the property. So we live directly beside, to the east of 55 Lothian, which is the proposed construction. We want to begin by saying that we support thoughtful development, and we have had nothing but positive interactions with our neighbors, Gianluca and Karen. We realize that there are several letters of support. However, based on the plans as currently drafted, our property faces the most potential impact with the variances being requested. Our first concern is with number 3, which is the side yard setback. So the proposed foundation of the new home would only be 0.75 meters from our shared property line. This is almost 50% closer to the property line than than what is required under the minimum setback of 1.2 meters. Within the presentation, there are various examples. However, we believe that examples 5 through 7, given that they're the closest proximity to our home, are the truer comparison. And what was granted to those homes were much less than what's being sought today. Our concerns are risks to the existing fence during the excavation, as well as the risks and damage to our foundation of our home during excavation. And the safety and practicality that there may not be enough space for proper footing or maintenance to be completed with the construction. The new structure would be approximately 1.55 meters closer to our home than what is currently being proposed here, raising concerns for privacy of both us and our neighbors. If the dwelling is granted in the proposed variance, it will have impact to the natural light that comes through our second story window, reducing the amount of light that we are able to receive in our home. And we ask that the committee to examine this minimum requirement setback for the protection of our shared property and privacy for both us and our neighbors. In addition to this side yard setback, we believe that there may be additional risks for drainage and flood risks. So where the home is currently situated, the new home, would be situated much closer to us than the current home, and this would result in a much smaller side yard between the property, raising concerns of pooling, water, and flooding near the shared fence and the foundation of our home, as well as long-term soil erosion and seepage into our basement. The current renderings that have been provided show 2 downspouts from the roof with elbow joints pointed directly to the property line, which intensify the concerns of water pooling, seepage, and potential damage to the basement and the foundation of our home. We do want to note that given the current property where it exists today, that these are risks that we do not currently face. We did have a concern around the air conditioner, given the changes today. I don't quite understand all of it. We did have a question about that lack of noise suppression, and we're wondering if it could also be relocated, as the committee did ask. The final concern that we had was on the main wall height. I do appreciate the presentation and thank you for the clarification. We just want to note that in the examples provided, all of the previously approved variances for height are less than what is currently being asked at this time. So it would be precedent setting for the area and may lead to increased shadowing of our property and reduced natural light within our home. So for us, our potential solutions, we want to reiterate that we are not against the project and support meaningful development of our neighborhood, but believe there may be some design options that can resolve the concerns that we have today. For example, adjusting the footprint of the home to coincide and maintain the setback that is asked for under the bylaw. And we believe that this would likely result in the new dwelling have the same look and feel that is consistent with the rest of the neighborhood. So in conclusion, we support the development that respects the community character of our neighborhood and relationships, and we urge the committee to consider the current variant requests and ensure that they align with the bylaws designed to protect not only the current homeowners, but future homeowners like us. And thank you for your time and consideration this morning.
Thank you, and you're finished ahead of time.
Sorry, I'm nervous here. Trying
It's
to get
okay.
through it.
No, you did great. I do have a question for you with regards to the air conditioner, because the applicant was suggesting that you would prefer it to be at the side rather than at the back. I would like to hear from you what your actual preference would be.
For us, the current unit is located on the opposite side of the house, so that would be our request, that it would be on the north side.
Yeah, I think they've
If we
probably
had
got
a
a visual issue if that's going to be the front of their house. But if you had to choose between that or going to the back of their house, what would be your choice?
Our preference would be the back.
Rather than next door to you at the side.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions from other? No. Okay. I'll come back to the agent then. Mr. Overholt.
Yes, thank you. And I appreciate the neighbor taking the time to express their concerns. I did review the letter of objection they submitted earlier, and I reviewed it in depth with the homeowner as well. I just want to touch upon this AC. I understand that they're concerned about the proximity to their wooden fence. However, I just want to touch upon that in review of the site and walking the site with the homeowner to understand the existing conditions and topography. It was noted that their air conditioning unit is ground mounted and located within their interior side yard within close proximity to the wooden fence. Now, I understand their concerns from perhaps a fire-rated situation, though I'm not too knowledgeable how often AC units cause a fire, but if their concern is noise, then I would believe that their air conditioning unit also provides a similar noise situation with ours. Now, we can definitely work with the mechanical engineers and perhaps transition to a heat pump, which is a little less noisy than the air conditioning unit, but that's something that would be developed during the building permit stage. Regarding the shadowing of our natural light on their dwelling, their top of roof elevation is measured at 126.49, which is only 0.42 meters lower than ours proposed roof height, which is 1'8", I believe. And in review of their existing side yard elevation, they have two very small windows where the rest of the facade is brick. I do understand that they're concerned for the shadowing, and I would assume that perhaps because of their rear deck, and they might be concerned of the lack of light, but their rear deck is a projection similar to ours as well. So I don't necessarily believe that the lack of natural light would actually hinder their use of the property as well. If they do wish us to relocate it into the rear, we can definitely decide that, and that's not a problem. Though I do believe that if their existing air conditioning units within the side yard setback, I do believe it allows the precedent for ours to be in it as well. Regarding the construction methodology, I do understand that because of the reduced side yard setback, we would have to move forward with introducing an engineer who is familiar with shoring practices, which is typical construction methodology in such a situation. Such a document would, of course, be properly designed and sealed and provided to the building department upon review. Now, the interior side yard setback is greater than 0.61 meters, which is the minimum for a side yard swale. So any side drainage concerns would be, noted, designed accordingly, and submitted for certification with the building department. If there are any other concerns that our neighbors do have, I'd be happy to discuss with them. It's not a problem.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for you with regards to the side yard setback. What is the current east side setback?
The current east side yard setback, if I would have to pull up the survey if you don't mind. It is definitely much larger than our existing.
Sorry, what's larger than the existing?
The existing side yard setback would be
is larger than what you're requesting.
That's yes, the house that was quite much smaller than the proposed dwelling.
Yeah, I can see it on the. It's 2.3 on the survey.
Thank you.
Okay, and the proposed side yard setbacks, do you have examples that are comparable in that area?
Yes, they are within our presentation as well.
Okay.
If I were to take a look, I believe looking at page number 14 of our submitted presentation, there are a few of side yard setback variances. Specifically, 37 Lothian was approved for side yard setback of 0.8 meters versus 1.2 is allowed, which is a variance of 0.4. 44 Lothian was also approved for reduced setbacks, though not quite similar to ours. And there are some other precedents within the local area, within that 500-meter radius, that has similar variances. The ones illustrated in red would be larger than ours.
I'm trying to find that presentation. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, thank you. That's it for my questions. I'll turn it over to panel members.
Thank you.
No questions? No? Okay, let's take it into committee then. There's no one else to speak on this? No.
No, Mr. Chair.
So with that, I would like to move a motion for the application as amended for approval. I believe the application meets the 4 tests subject to the forestry and planning conditions.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, done. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, carries. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I can't vote at all or just can't vote to create a tie. Okay. Okay, so the application is approved, and thank you, Mr. Overholt, and thank you, Jacob. We're moving on.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. So item 19, 247 Mill Road. This is an application to legalize and maintain a rear yard deck or gazebo and canopy. There are 2 variances being requested, and 1 has been reduced. We have on file an order to comply, and we have 3 objections, and we have a support petition. Nelson Espinola, I believe, is our agent.
Yes, very good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Nelson Espinola from 1726 St. Clair Avenue West as the agent for this application.
Okay, welcome. I think we're going to need a presentation, if you don't mind.
Certainly. This is an application to maintain a canopy that was built without the benefit of a building permit. And we have 2 variances relating to rear yard setback and landscaped area. We have been in consultation with the planning department with regards to landscaping, and we have made substantial improvements in terms of the percentage of landscaped area. So we
you're at 40, just for those who don't know, because it was revised, so from the notice. So you've gone from 29.2 to 44.6. Sorry, 0.67, and the required is 50. So you're just shy of the required at this point.
That is correct.
Okay.
So in general, that's the nature of our application, is to maintain the canopy, which the planning department has no objections to it. But they wanted us to improve on the landscaped area, which is what we did.
Okay, thank you. We have Ruth in person. Welcome.
Okay, so my name's Ruth Kumpa. I reside at 22 Boxwood Road. My husband and I submitted a letter to the Committee of Adjustment with our concerns. I'd like to make a couple of additional comments. One, I was unable to submit a video that I happened to take in mid-March of this year when I saw water pouring through our retaining wall. That had never happened before. the retaining wall is adjacent to 24 Boxwood Road. The garden bed that is also on that corner has been compacted with the amount of water passing through and standing there. The perennial bed has suffered and will now need to be rectified in some manner, of which I'm not sure that the plants have to be actually excavated, the soil tilled, or something to create some air into there, as in parts of it I can't even get a trowel into it now. So we're wondering if these variances to the canopy, the hardscaping, and actually the grading are considered minor. It seems that none of the city bylaws have been followed in either of these three cases. And as far as we know, the submission of April 24th to improve the hardscape has not been totally completed. So we're concerned, and those are my comments.
Okay. Are your primary concerns with the soft landscaping or with the encroachment of the canopy? Or both?
It's kind of like a package deal because the canopy is larger than it's supposed to be.
So it diverts water down. Yeah.
Water down to the south east corner. And if there isn't enough softscaping there, where is the water going to go? It seems like from the information that was put forward, the people on Mill don't seem to have a problem, whether it would be the canopy or the water flow. It seemed to be coming behind the property.
You're directly behind them. Is your lot higher or lower than theirs?
Lower.
Lower.
I'm not directly behind them. Directly behind them would be 24.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of 26.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, we've been in the property for 40 years. We've always been aware of drainage. We had to be because the property behind us is actually slightly higher than us.
Okay.
And our street is on a slight decline, so water needs to flow down south. And so that is happening with this property that goes to the back and is going south.
Okay. I'm going to get the agent to come back to comment on your concerns. Sorry.
I wonder if I could just add a few things to my wife in response to your questions and some questions. Very short.
If you got a response to the question, I'll take that.
So the response is in relationship to the...
Sorry, we need your name and address and in the microphone.
Sorry. Sorry, yes, my name is Kurt Kampa. I live at 22 Boxwood Road in Etobicoke. So I'm just talking about the gazebo and the drainage from the gazebo is just on one downspout, which is located on the southern edge of the property, or southern edge of the gazebo, I should say. So that the drainage flows all towards Boxwood Road. Like Mill Road is definitely higher, so the slope of the properties are all to the side to Boxwood Road. So all the water essentially goes to the three houses that are on Boxwood Road, and that's why those three people actually applied for an objection to the variance.
Okay, no, we got it. Okay. Thank you.
And it was just for my
No,
information.
you were just answering a question.
Sorry. Try to keep everybody to the same rules. Okay, so let's come back to the agent, please. So Nelson?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I would like to point out that number 22 Boxwood, it's actually more than 30 feet away from the southern part of our property. I think the issue here with the drainage, it's an existing condition because the drainage goes from north to south, draining towards south on Boxwood. My client built a small retaining wall at the back, which is about 5 to 6 inches above grade, and it helps maintain a lot. And I strongly believe with the increase on landscaped area that we're proposing, we should have no issues with water from our property.
Okay, so that was going to be my question is, what's your current landscaped area? It's not what's being proposed, correct? You're going to increase the soft landscaping?
That's correct.
So what's
We'll be at the most.
So currently, would it be safe to
We'll
say
be almost at 50.
you're at 29.2 now?
I'm sorry?
You're at 29.2% now, 37 square meters?
That's, right now we increased from 29.2 to 44.67.
Okay, you're kind of breaking up in your answer. So what did you say? You're increasing from what?
We're from 37.17 to 56.77 square meters.
Perfect. I just wanted the neighbors.
Which is an increase of almost 20 square meters.
Okay, I just wanted the neighbors to get a perception of how much the soft landscaping will be increased. Okay, sorry.
Yes, 20 square meters.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah. The plans submitted show aluminum gutters. So what direction are they going? And would it be possible to alter it? Because what they're claiming is that since this canopy gazebo has been added, that the water seems to have increased in their direction. So is it possible to make any sort of change to that?
Well, I've got the owner right beside me.
But first of all, have the gutters been added? Like, are they actually there?
A gutter in the roof?
No. See if this for the front.
Sorry?
No, nothing from the.
There is no gutters from the roof.
No.
To
go to the back.
To go to the back. There's no gutters from the roof going to the back.
So the main roof doesn't have gutters?
Yeah, it's going to go to the front. Give it this to the front.
The main roof does have gutters, but it goes to the front.
Okay. So are there any gutters on the gazebo?
On the gazebo, yes. There's one.
Okay.
But we can definitely relocate that rainwater leader towards the front if it's needed.
Okay. Don, you had a question as well?
I'm just wondering, can you tell me how you achieved the improvement to the soft landscaping? Where did you find this extra 20 square meters?
Like, is it reflected on your current site plan, or is it going to be, the site plan going to be modified?
Well, I've submitted a revised site plan, and most of that landscaped area is towards the side of the canopy, and quite a big portion will be towards the entire back of the house, back of the lot, I should say.
Okay, thank you.
Nadia, did you have a question as well?
I had a similar question.
Sorry, Natalia.
I had a similar question to my colleague, just to be clear, because you're breaking up a little bit. Is your client, Mr. Agent, prepared to move the gutters on the gazebo, I guess the downpipe exactly where the gutters collect, away from your neighbors? In a different direction?
Rainwater leader pipe. Move to the front.
Yes, he can.
Yeah.
Okay, and so if I hear you properly, you're undertaking to do that as a measure to ameliorate concerns of your neighbors. So I'll take that as a yes, you will do that. Fair?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, let's take it into committee.
Can we make that a condition?
I think you have to be specific on where they're supposed to go.
Well,
'Cause I don't think he can direct them towards the front all the way from the back.
no.
It's a long way to go. Can we at least say something to the effect that it must be directed to the soft landscaped area
On the subject property.
on the subject property,
Yeah.
as opposed to the hardscaped?
And the revision is just whatever the committee has before them to the 44.67%, right?
Say again?
The rear yard soft landscaping is what the revision you have before you.
Yes.
Of 44.67%.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone ready for a motion?
Sure, I'll give it a whirl. So with that, I would like to move a motion for approval. I believe the applicant is willing to make the change that I'm about to recommend, and I'm recommending this approval on condition that they redirect the eaves shroud directly to the soft landscaping on site. And I do not believe there are any other conditions. No.
The downpipe.
The eaves shroud downpipe. Yep.
So I have the rear downspout shall be directed onto the soft landscaping on the subject property. Is that okay?
Correct.
Seconder?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous approval. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. So our last item for the morning agenda, number 20, 108 Portfield Road, or is it Porterfield Road, sorry. This is an application to construct a two-story front addition and a second-story addition above the existing dwelling. There are 4 variances being requested. The agent is Mario Silva, online. Mario, are you there?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's
Good afternoon.
Mario Silva. I'm the agent for the application. The address is 100 Uxbridge Avenue, Toronto.
Okay. All of the variances look very minor to me. So I don't believe there are any other speakers, so I don't think we need a presentation. If you just are open to any questions.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Panel members, any questions for Mr. Silva? No? Okay, ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'm satisfied the requested variances meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act. I move approval without conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Seconder?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And we're done for the morning. I believe, yeah. So back at 2 o'clock?